Nigh.
Imagine a world fractured by relentless violence and economic collapse. This societal chaos creates a desperate geopolitical vacuum. Exhausted by the instability, the public seeks a savior to stop the bleeding. This collective vulnerability triggers an ancient biblical warning from the book of Matthew. Jesus cautioned his followers to look past the surface, describing ravenous wolves that hide themselves in sheep's clothing. The book of Revelation identifies this wolf as the beast from the earth. While the Antichrist emerges from the dark, turbulent depths of the sea, this second figure rises from the ground. Because the earth was historically viewed as stable and less dangerous than the ocean, this figure arrives as a subtle, non-threatening presence. Their power structures are distinct. As shown here, the sea beast possesses 10 horns, signaling massive military and political force. In contrast, the beast from the earth has only 2 horns, like a lamb, indicating his authority is spiritual rather than martial. But his lamb-like charm is a mask. While the first leader rises from the turbulent sea, the second beast, the false prophet, emerges from the quiet, seemingly stable earth. Yet his origin is just as dangerous, rising from a fiery abyss, marking his demonic power. He avoids the intimidating appearance of a conqueror. With only 2 horns instead of 10, he presents a gentle, persuasive face, a carefully crafted imitation of a lamb. Beneath that soft exterior lies a different nature entirely. He acts as Satan's mouthpiece, using a dragon's voice to manipulate the world with lies. His harmless appearance is precisely why he is so effective. He is the wolf in sheep's clothing, using subtle persuasion to lure the population into a trap far deeper than military occupation. The false prophet's first major act is to validate a staged miracle. He witnesses an apparent assassination and a miraculous recovery, convincing the world that the Antichrist's fatal wound has been healed. This resonates with an ancient fear known as the Nero Redivivus myth. In the 1st century, many lived in terror that Emperor Nero had faked his suicide and would one day return to reclaim his throne with a vengeance. By echoing this myth, the false prophet shifts the world's perception of the Antichrist. The man is elevated to a divine status, receiving the fanatical worship previously reserved for a god. This awe is immediately weaponized to build an inescapable global cult. Political influence, economic control, and religious devotion are all routed toward a single central node, placing the Antichrist at the head of every facet of human life. The faked resurrection serves as the ultimate catalyst, fusing political tyranny with religious zeal to create a population that is not just obedient, but devoted. To maintain this devotion, the false prophet displays terrifying power, even commanding fire to rain down from the sky in front of global audiences. This act is a calculated insult to the Creator. It is designed to mock the 2 true prophets sent to warn the world, using demonic signs to drown out their message. By engineering undeniable sensory evidence, the prophet shatters skepticism and forces the public into terrified submission. With the world held in a state of awe, the prophet issues a global mandate. Every citizen must construct a physical image of the dictator and physically bow before it. Placing an idol in a place of sacred worship marks the ultimate desecration of holy spaces, identified in prophecy as the abomination of desolation. It directly mirrors the events of 167 BC, when the Seleucid king Antiochus IV Epiphanes desecrated the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, igniting one of the bloodiest religious wars in Israel's history. The prophet then performs his climax of deception. In front of his audience, he appears to give life to this newly built idol, causing the physical image to breathe and speak verbal commands. Archaeological digs in Greece reveal exactly how this kind of illusion operated in antiquity. Pagan priests used hidden networks of tunnels dug beneath altars to access hollowed statues, utilizing ventriloquism to project their voices and fake divine speech. Today, this same deception could be mirrored through advanced robotics. These wonders are not acts of life or creation, but elaborate demonic and technological counterfeits. Their only purpose is to demand absolute, unwavering submission to the regime. These miracles are weaponized to unite the world under a single imperial religion. This apostate system, often described as the harlot church, serves as the spiritual backbone of the Antichrist regime. Staged wonders and supernatural signs can be effectively engineered by dark forces to build a global cult of personality, proving that miracles are not a guaranteed indicator of divine truth. The speaking image functions as a lethal screening tool. Anyone who refuses to bow down, specifically Christians and Jews who remain faithful to God, is instantly identified as an enemy of the state and sentenced to death. By combining institutional religion with staged wonders, the false prophet identifies dissidents and enforces absolute loyalty to a totalitarian regime. Once the trap is fully set, the gentle, lamb-like leader is revealed as a global enforcer. The world that sought peace finds itself trapped in a system of mandatory idolatry and lethal state control. The Book of Revelation, chapter 14, makes the stakes clear. Anyone who falls for these deceptions and worships the beast will face the unyielding wrath of God. The false prophet secures the damnation of billions through soft, reassuring words and the promise of an end to suffering, achieving through persuasion what a military conqueror could not. When a global religion once again attempts to replace the worship of God with the image of a man, the cycle of history reaches its conclusion here. The ultimate blasphemy occurs exactly where it did in the past, triggering a wave of violence against anyone who refuses to bow to the new order. The entire world is presented with a binary choice: participate in the worship of the beast and his image, or face systemic elimination. The false prophet frames this as a path to peace, promising that global suffering will end for those who simply exchange their autonomy for security. But that promise is a lie. The theological consequence for those who follow this deception is the inescapable wrath of God, a price far higher than any worldly comfort. The warning from Christ remains the definitive guide for this era. The greatest danger to humanity isn't a monster that is easily recognized, but a persuasive lie that arrives looking exactly like a lamb.
9.